We're here in the early afternoon of Pocket Gamer Connects 2019 in London. I am joined by Nicolas, who is we're going to say, you choose the title.
All right.
You go for it.
I was Managing Director of App Annie EMEA as of a week ago, and now I'm SVP of Global Partnerships. So,
fair enough, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I had a lot of different titles in the organization. So.
Well, for those people who maybe aren't familiar, I'm sure everyone does know of App Annie, but just in case they don't, what is it that you guys do?
Okay, so App Annie is really you should see us as the leading market intelligence and analytics platform for apps globally. Mm-hmm. So of course we very focused on the gaming sector. That's where it's kind of like our first love. Yeah. But we also work with a lot of different partners in a lot of different verticals and industry, helping them build a better app, and being successful in the app business. Mm.
Well, I mean, you guys have been around for a long time now, as long as I've been within. I remember App Annie, and I've been talking to a lot of people who work with publishing or ad networks, and it always comes back to information. It always comes back to analytics and where you're pulling your data from and where you're grabbing your UA info from and whatnot. So in the long time that App Annie has been in the sector, A, how do you feel it's remained successful? What have you guys had to do to adapt to the ever-changing marketplace? And B, why do you think that it's so important for example, developers to approach this stuff and factor this kind of information analytics stuff into their design when they're making a game?
Well, I think there's different things. So I think number one, it's extremely important to understand what are the market's dynamics, right? I mean, today, if you are a publisher in Eastern Europe, or in continental Europe or wherever, and want to get an understanding of where is the market going, what's going to happen in the future. It's really important for you to track how the market is evolving, potentially in Japan or in South Korea or other region, and get a little bit of an understanding of what is happening over there. As you know, a lot of trends, especially in gaming, are coming from those markets in Asia that are a bit more mature because of the PC and console era and how they've evolved on those dominant platforms at the time. And being able to track that and how this translated to mobile and how it has impact mobile is extremely important. So that's I think is one of the most important piece of why App Annie is definitely something that can help you create a better product. And it's not just in gaming. Again, gaming is a big part of our business, but it's also the Coca-Cola of the world, or the Walmart of the world, or the Carrefour of the world that are building apps today and need to understand what are the trends that they are seeing on gaming, for example, what are in the social networking to actually bring into their own apps to be successful.
So when you're talking about, to address the second part of it, when people are developing apps or games or whatever it is, and I feel like sometimes, and I think developers admit this as well, they focus on the game that they want to make or the app they want to make, and then perhaps the idea of how are we going to monetize this is kind of an afterthought rather than being integrated into the core design at the very, very beginning. Where do you think that the best place to get the information is from? I mean, in terms of, obviously you're going to say yourselves, because that's quite useful, but what are the bits of information, if you're making your app, you're starting out from scratch, what's the key first thing you should do in terms of what's the metric to look at? What analytics should you be searching?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different metrics, that you need to look into. Of course, you need the most basic metrics. You need to look at, the downloads and revenue in a specific market, for example. But you also need to look at the monthly active users, the daily active users, the ARPU, and all those type of metrics that you're probably very familiar with that needs to be analyzed in every single market and in specific subcategories that you want to get into. You want to create a racing game. Well, how are you not going to compare to the top of the market? What are the top racing games? How do they monetize, right? How much time our users, gamers, engage with the game? What is the average? Is it 60 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? 10 minutes sometimes? Very different than an RPG, for example. Yeah. So every single category have their specific dynamics that you need to better understand to create a very successful game, and that's the kind of thing that we produce and helps you better understanding at the end of the day.
Because you guys have been around for a while, I imagine you've seen a lot of changes in the types of games, the genres that have become successful. I've been talking to developers and publishers today, and hyper-casual is a fun new one that's emerged recently with Voodoo and the like. So what's the biggest sort of shift you've seen in the last 12 months?
That's a very good question. I actually had a presentation this morning about this. So there's really two categories in 2018 that started to grow and grow faster than other categories in the gaming genre, right? Is Battle Royale is one for obvious reasons, and also the hyper casual. What's interesting if you look at those subcategory and then eventually look at the different countries globally, there's a different dynamics happening. Okay, there's if you look at the APAC market, these APAC markets are usually, I want to say, more in the top 5. Battle Royale are usually a genre that we see a lot, and in EMEA it's more hyper casual, especially in France with Voodoo and the likes, where you would see a lot of hyper casual. So we start to see a lot of different dynamics between EMEA and Asia Pacific. And then there's also interesting markets like Brazil or India, for example, emerging markets, where in terms of, if you look at the downloads, you're not necessarily going to find in the top 5 some hardcore games. Okay. However, in terms of monthly active users, you'll see, in terms of hardcore games, the monthly active user being extremely high, especially India, much more than in developed market like Japan, South Korea, or North America. Which means that we have a feeling that a lot of those users are getting more active with hardcore game for the first time on mobile, and really spend a lot of time just on mobile because they don't have either console or PC and jump straight to mobile. So the monthly active users is much higher than other countries, which is, the consumption is very different because in the US, when you play a hardcore game, you usually have access to the game on console, on PC, and on mobile. So your attention is going to be divided between those 3 or 4 different platforms where you can have actually play the game, right?
A lot of people think of mobile as, it's a thing for little casual games.
Yeah, not at all.
Obviously, with the hyper-casual ones, that works. But you're saying that for some people, it is their sole console.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because of the trend, that trend that we were just talking about in 2018, where you have the two spectrum of the market that are actually starting to grow much faster than the rest. So again, the hardcore with the Battle Royale and the hyper casual. And it's really interesting to see this happening in one single device, right?
They're like opposite ends of the
exactly.
spectrum.
But it means that the device itself, mobile, can embrace both hardcore and very casual games, and it's made for both now. It wasn't, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Playing a hardcore game on console was extremely hard. Now on mobile, now with the advance of the hardware and of course the networks, you're getting to a point where you can really enjoy a hardcore game on mobile device, and of course casual game. That's been the case for a very long time. So we are a really interesting segmentation point in the market. It's really interesting.
So you've come to the conference today. What is it that you guys look for when you come to these kind of big events? Are you meeting with existing clients? Are you looking to find new people to work with? What's the angle for you guys?
A little bit of both. What I would say is really the most important thing for us is still to be seen as the leader in the space. We've been in that space for a very long time. We started with a free product, and what was really important when we started the company for us was to give at the time gaming publisher access to data at any type of level, and that's why we started with a freemium product that allowed us to, of course, create a paid service. But people tend to forget that we started with first a free product so that independent studios could get a better understanding of what was happening in the marketplace, right? And I think it's very important for us to still have that approach, and that's why we come here, to really tell people, okay, yes, we are the big company in the space, but that's where we started, and we want to embrace the overall spectrum of the market, whether you're a big player, a big gaming player, or a small independent studio that's just starting.
Good to know. I'm sure people can find you. They'll have the link in the About section below. But Nicolas, pleasure to talk to you.
Very nice
have
to
a good show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.